Let me tell you how my entire life flipped upside down in a single afternoon, yeah. You heard me right. 1 minute, I'm elbow deep in jet fuel and sweat. Next thing I know, I'm staring at a billionaire who's got the power to change everything for a guy like me. You want to know how that happened? Settle in, because this ride's got twists, a bit of heartbreak, and a hell of a payoff at the end. So picture this. The jet engine's howling, black smoke pouring off the runway, and I'm out there with my shirt stuck to my back, thinking about my overdue rent and my daughter's tuition payments circling the drain. My name's Marcus Jackson, and on that day, I had exactly 43 bucks and change in my checking account plus an eviction notice balled up in my pocket, just to keep things spicy. Meanwhile, behind me, there's Elaine Westfield herself, queen of tech, tapping her foot, asking how much longer, like she's never had to wait for anything in her life. I don't even look up, just say, "You can't rush this, ma'am. Not if you want to leave the ground today," and go back to work, my hands moving by memory, every click of my tools echoing in the morning heat. You know what I mean? What neither of us could see coming, what changed, everything actually started 3 days earlier, like most disasters do, with an alarm at 4:15 a.m. in a kitchen full of unpaid bills. My daughter Tamara was asleep in the next room, exhausted from juggling her engineering internship and a stack of grad school applications we couldn't really afford. The apartment was too small, the money too tight, but I kept things moving. Shower, coffee, check the day's jobs. Only thing on the list was a tune-up for a crop duster out at Henderson Field. The guy always paid late. Just another Tuesday, except my Air Force buddy Reggie texts me. "Atlantic Elite's hiring, come by after." That place? Private jets for people who have private islands, and they'd already turned me down 3 times because, let's be honest, they wanted a certain look, and it wasn't mine. So I tell Tamara, got that Henderson job, then I'm heading to Atlantic. Maybe today's the day. She lights up, always does, telling me how the head engineer at Atlantic's her hero, how they work on everything from Gulfstreams to Boeings. She believes in me like her mom used to God. I miss Lisa, but I warn her not to get her hopes up. The world changes slow. It's 2025, Dad. They'd be lucky to have you. Yeah, right? Henderson Field's all dust and sweat and honest work. And old Earl Peterson, who owns the crop duster, is just the kind of client who'll slip you cash and tell you about how his daddy wouldn't let a black man touch his tractor, let alone his plane. Daddy was wrong about a lot of things, he admits, and there's a quiet in his voice. Not shame, just the ache of time passing. I patch up his plane-worn valve guide. Nothing I can't handle, but, of course, the payment's delayed. Story of my life. After Henderson, I point my beat-up Ford at Atlantic Elite's Glass Palace and hope the AC holds out. The place is crawling with Bentleys, and the security guard eyes me like he's expecting trouble. Inside, it's all marble and cold stairs, but Reggie's there, same old grin, and he pulls me through to the break room where we catch up. He tells me the new management actually gives a damn about skill, not skin, yeah, right, I think, but I keep listening. Turns out, the new operations director, Morty, is ex-Air Force too. Maybe things really do change. Morty brings me in for a technical, grilling 45 minutes of talking engine failure at 41,000 feet, diagnosing ghosts no one else could see. He never asks about the gap in my resume or why I'm hustling contract gigs. Just pure, old-school know-how. When I nail the answer to his toughest question, he offers me a job on the spot, $87,000 a year, overtime, benefits, all of it. I'm stunned, honestly. For the first time in years, it feels like the weight's finally coming off my back. But hold up right then. Reggie comes in, tells me they've got a Gulfstream with engine trouble on Runway 2, CEO on board, big client. Double overtime, he says, and you know I'm not about to say no. Out on the tarmac, it's deja vu. A Gulfstream G650, crew tents, and up in first class, Elaine Westfield, yeah, her pacing and cursing because her meeting's about to tank if she doesn't get airborne. Now, let me back up a sec. Her presence is something else. You don't get to 30 billion without learning to own a room, or a runway, or a company. I explain the issue: vibration, heat, something subtle but nasty. She wants to know how long, and I don't sugarcoat it. 90 minutes if I can fix it here, 8 hours if I can't. She says I've got 2, and just like that, the clock starts ticking. I get inside the engine, sweating buckets, every move automatic, and finally, I spot Ida hairline crack in the fuel nozzle, invisible unless you've seen a few engines die under your hands. It's risky, but I know how to reinforce Ida fix good enough to get her to San Francisco, but not beyond. I tell her the truth, and she studies me like she's reading the blueprints to my soul. Do it, she says, but I want your name on the work. The repair is delicate, all muscle memory and nerves, but I nail it. Engine's running smoother than it has in months. Elaine comes down, gives me her card, says, call my office next week. I have thoughts about talent acquisition. No one's ever handed me that kind of opportunity not like that. Turns out, that single job lands me a $3,500 check in my account before I even get home more than 3 weeks' pay in 2 hours. I pay Tamara's tuition, the rent, and even fix the AC on the truck. For the first time in years, I sleep easy. 3 months go by blink, and you'll miss it and my world's changed. Atlantic promotes me, Tamara's thriving at school, and we move into our first real house since Lisa got sick. But that card Elaine gave me? I call. Weeks later, she invites me to lunch, wants to talk about a new aviation division, black-owned company acquisition, all that. She's been watching my work. Wants me to lead a team, develop tech that'll revolutionize aircraft maintenance. Salary? $225 a year. Full ride for Tamara at Georgia Tech. I don't even know what to say. Why me? I ask her. Degrees don't solve problems. People do, she tells me, and man, if that doesn't hit hard. Of course, nothing's ever that simple. After I accept, we find out the tech has an unseen vulnerability, and the only guy who knows how to fix it is a ghost from Elaine's pasta rival who forces a showdown in the dead of night, sabotages her jet just to prove he's got the skills. He wants in, and after a tense standoff, we strike a Dell hands over the fix, we integrate it, and the project gets back on track ahead of schedule. But the story doesn't end with the good guys riding into the sunset. Elaine calls me into her office, pours 2 glasses of champagne, and lays out her next place she wants me on an executive track. Succession planning, real power. She even gives me her grandfather's gold pocket watch, says it's a symbol of theory meeting practice, of trust built in the trenches, not in the boardroom. And here's the kicker, she doesn't just want a colleague. She wants a partner, someone who can match her vision, challenge her, maybe even change her. I tell you, for a kid who grew up fixing engines in his uncle's garage, this all feels like a dream except every bit of it's real. Elaine's put her trust, her future, and maybe a little more in my hands. And for the first time, I'm not just fixing broken machines, I'm building something bigger. A new legacy. For myself, for Tamara, for anyone who's ever been told they weren't the right fit. So that's my story, how a broke mechanic with nothing but calloused hands and stubborn hope wound up co-piloting the future alongside a billionaire. If you're still with me, I gotta ask, what would you do in my shoes? Would you trust a second chance, even if it comes with more responsibility than you ever imagined? Tell me below, because honestly, I'm still figuring it out myself. And hey, if this story made you think, share your take on justice, ambition, or what it really means to fix something broken, be it an engine, a company, or just your own story. Let's talk about it.